Hey, it's another Wednesday night with me, the A-Game, Rob Akampora. Glad to be here at the Shared Universe Studios here on the Jersey Shore. Very happy to have this, man. We finally got it to work out because it's been, and Jeremy, I totally understand. I look at your schedule and go, I can't keep up with you. There's so much going on, and I love the look there. But I'm glad I could catch you just like trying to relax a little bit, which is great. And
this is the result. All this gray hair.
Dude, at least you got hair. Come on now. The man from Mallrats and many other projects that we're going to talk about, but he's also got a lot of great side projects that have kind of developed over the last year, Jeremy London.
Yes.
And one of them is this, which I'm very happy that we got at the studio, thanks to your friendship with Ming Chen. This, by the way, is London's most wanted all-natural pepper jelly. This is the cowboy version. We also have the other version, which I'm not going to try because the outlaw, I can tell, is like, look at it this way. Look at all the spices that are going on in the outlaw. Yeah, and by the way, how hot? What's it? Just out of curiosity, how much hotter is the outlaw than the cowboy?
Cowboy's not hot at all, and so it's 100% hotter.
Okay, well, you know what? It doesn't make a difference which one I open because
the cowboy. I mean, the outlaw it's like jalapeno hot.
Okay, no, yeah. I mean, that's, you've seen the trends, like everybody likes to, let's see how hot we can make sauces.
Well, we got jalapenos and there is some like random habaneros and stuff like that, but overall it's not off the charts hot. Now we have a outlaw special edition that we make with Carolina Reapers and Ghost Peppers and
okay. So the Scoville meters,
Trinidad Scorpions, and it'll burn your butt.
I'm like medium when it comes to heat, so it's like,
well, you wouldn't the outlaw wouldn't be too much for you, man. It's not. We try to. The main thing is that I know how I am.
Right.
Whenever I'm put off by something, I just won't touch it again. And if something's too hot, I'm not going to eat it again. And that takes away from, a client base, but also just it narrows the field of people that are going to get to enjoy it. And so I try to keep it at a place where it's hot, but it's not too hot.
Right. And what's interesting, when you introduced this, when I saw it online, I really didn't know what pepper jelly was.
Neither did I.
Oh, really? Okay. So
100%.
So how did you stumble upon all this?
COVID hit,
right?
And all of a sudden, my lady was home every day and didn't have to go to the office. And we have a backyard that was begging for something to be done. All it was, we've got 5 dogs, and all that was back there was dog crap. So I got tired of that, and we started building a garden. And
as a matter of fact, Ming, give me photo number 4 because this is a recent haul from your garden. By the way, this is impressive. I mean,
that was
my God. So really, this was sort of like a sanity thing in a sense, where it's like,
okay,
100%. So middle of the pandemic, you start diving into this, and you start feeling like, hey, you know what? This is a lot of fun.
Oh man, it became an obsession.
Yeah,
and so all of a sudden we have a surplus of stuff, peppers in general, that I really didn't know what the hell to do with. And so we got into watching, as I was trying to learn about, just even how to garden, we were watching YouTube videos.
Right.
And there was a lady on YouTube called Callie Kim, and she basically just said that, when she has peppers left over, she makes pepper jelly. And honestly, my first response was gross.
Okay.
That does not sound good. But then I watched her make it, and I was looking at it, I was like, man, that's really pretty. It just looks tasty. I don't know what it is. I got to try that. And so I followed her original recipe. I've now devised my own completely different recipe, but the original introduction to it, I just followed her recipe. Wow. And the first time I put it in my mouth, I literally looked at my lady and I said, we're making pepper jelly. This is the most delicious thing I've ever tried. I couldn't believe how good it was. And then I found out that, here where I live here in Mississippi, pepper jelly is life here.
Right. See, that's why I thought, being that you live down there, this was something that was around you. It's funny to find out that you had no clue.
No clue. And so it was kind of after we started making it, and the best compliments that we've gotten, and so far we have a 100% happy customer base. We've never had one complaint, and we sold thousands of jars of this stuff now. The best compliments we've had are from the older ladies in Mississippi here that tell us it's the best pepper jelly they've ever had in their entire lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
That blew my mind, and we really do kind of go over and above to make it as good as possible. I mean, I make it all myself. My lady packages it, so we've got a good little team. And so she helps me jar it and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's my recipe. I make 100% of the jars. I sign the jars. It's been pretty cool. And then we went from there. I started baking stuff, which is so weird. I never thought I'm gonna make somebody a wonderful granny someday.
Yes, you are. And by the way, he does sign them, which I think is a really cool thing. That's real.
And that's why I sign each and every one of them.
Yeah, which I think is a great thing, Jeremy. It really is.
I bottle each and every one of them. That's not a big deal for me to sign it,
Yeah. Absolutely.
People are like, wow, you sign them? I'm like, I make them. I jar them. I put the labels on them. I do all of that.
Here's what I'm going to do in honor of you. Now, this is something I saw on Facebook, a way to use pepper jelly. So I got myself some cream cheese. I'm going to put
Good. That's the way to do it.
Okay, good. So I am doing okay.
Yes,
so
a little cream cheese on a cracker.
And that I made sure to buy some Triscuits on the way in. So I was
good. I highly recommend these. They're called flips. They're like pretzel crackers.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's the best. But Triscuits are fantastic too. The main thing is that you get to see sort of what the big deal is here. So look how pretty that is. Isn't that beautiful?
It's funny because I look at it, it almost looks like it's a peach gel going on here, and you wouldn't think that it. Well, cheers to you because I've been waiting to try this.
I'm curious.
Oh my god. Not as spicy as I thought it was going to be. There's more tang than anything else.
Yeah, that's the cowboy. That's not not our hot one.
No, but I'm going to try the hot one before we're done.
Good. It's not gonna be too hot, man. I mean, no.
But that's but okay. Now I get a little bit of the pepper.
A little bit at the back. It's in there. It's there, but it's nothing that's gonna,
No,
kids can eat.
You really get the idea of this because I think what happens now with foods these days, it's about, well, how spicy can we make it? You bring flavor with a little bit of, and it's a nice feeling back here. It was like, oh, I get that. That's pleasant. It's not taking over the taste of the pepper jelly.
And you probably just got like one of the cowboys with maybe just a little bit of remnants of one of the jalapenos that I put in there.
Right.
Because I do put jalapenos even in the sweet one, but I cut out all of the, take out all the seeds and the white lining out of it. And they're supposed to not be hot after that, but there's probably a slight bit of a leftover, but
no, I'm taking now I'm taking the outlaw, and I'm like, you do see a little bit more, and you know what? It's not as scary as I'm thinking it's going to be. But it's like, if anything, it's like, okay, this is a little bit inviting in the sense that, yeah, you do want to see, and I'll put it up here. You do see.
I try to make it pretty, I
want to have done that, and
isn't that pretty?
And as you can see in here, there's a little more pepper going on.
Oh yeah.
So
this is a different animal.
Oh yeah. You know what? I like this a little bit better because you're getting a little bit more of the pepper flavor.
Most people do once they've compared them. Now there are plenty of people that just don't like anything spicy,
right?
And they're scared to even try it. But then when they try it, they go, "Oh, this is great."
Yeah.
But I prefer the outlaw to have if I'm gonna eat pepper jelly, I want it to have a little bit of a kick.
Well, that's the thing. Now that I've had both, I agree with you. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, So my stepson and I just tried, and I'm gonna be making the YouTube video and putting it out of us doing that Pocky one chip challenge.
Oh,
have you heard of that?
Yes, I have.
Oh, man, it's off the charts hot. There's no doubt about that, but it's more disgusting tasting than anything.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a black chip, and you put it in your mouth, and immediately it was like biting into like charcoal or something, and so you have to just get it down quick, and that's not easy.
No.
And then you can't use water or anything because that's sort of part of the thing. You're not allowed to use anything, not allowed to drink anything for 5 minutes.
Exactly. Thanks a lot, really. I really wanted to torture myself.
Yeah, so it is. It's a masochistic thing to do. But the end result was I, at the end of the day, said I'm not doing that anymore because that tasted disgusting. But then like the next day, it's sort of like after you get drunk and you're like, I'm never drinking again.
Yeah.
Now I'm ready to do the duel, which is actually the guys from Pucker Butt, that actually the guy that made and created this other the Carolina Reaper and Pepper X and all that stuff. He has the same sort of challenge called the duel, and my stepson and I are going to do that one next. It's even hotter. It's the hottest pepper on the planet.
No,
but it's supposed to be tastier.
You going to put that up on your London's Most Wanted page on YouTube?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. And there's a couple of them. I'm behind a little bit because I've been shooting a movie that I'm co-directing and producing called Interfere, and help me start a film company.
Right. Matter of fact, I want to get into that, but we're talking about Most Wanted. Christian, photo number 5, please, because you can find his YouTube videos. There's about 6, a little still shot that I got from Jeremy doing his thing. 6 episodes are running right now. This is Jeremy's take on really utilizing the pepper jelly in many different ways. Love the venison meatball episode.
Thank you.
I'm somebody that likes venison, and there's not a lot of things you think about to incorporate venison. That was actually a really creative idea.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I try to think outside the box a little bit. I mean, I'm a bit of a fledgling chef. I cook all of our meals, and it's something that I just really have always loved to do. I flipped burgers at Whataburger when I was 16 and loved it. The McDonald's Whataburger. I mean, and I wanted to be on the grill immediately, it's just something I've always loved doing. And now I'm turning into that like old fart, that, it has my professional grilling technique.
But I think you're stumbling onto something here too, because I think we've seen a couple celebrities, maybe a little by accident, like Valerie Bertinelli's show kind of taking off a little bit. And I look at some of the shows that are on not only the Food Network, but the Cooking Channel, and I go, you know what? London's Most Wanted could be a nice addition, hint, to something like the Cooking Channel. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. I think that at this point, I think I have enough in my arsenal. I probably could do it. Yeah. And I'm also still a student of it all. So I watch a lot of cooking shows and watch methodology, and I try to emulate it as much as possible. And I've been learning all of these incredible tricks with long cooking meats on an actual charcoal grill, because charcoal only sticks around for so long.
That's true.
And so it's like, how do you cook a brisket for 6 hours on a charcoal grill? That's right. Yeah. And so I've been figuring out how to do that and that kind of stuff. And it's just a little bit mind blowing. There's a real science to the whole thing. And I never thought I'd be talking about that on a podcast. I am an old fart. Holy crap! Gardening and baking and,
like you say, you're gonna make somebody.
What's happening to me, Rob?
By the way, you can find his products at Etsy.com if you want to order some of the pepper jelly. We'll remind you of that before we're done again.
Yeah, London's Most Wanted on Etsy. Yeah,
there we go. And before I get into the film that we were talking about, it dawns on me as somebody who you have a passion for this. And I look at sometimes a show like Chop where they have the celebrities on. If they extended an invite to you to do a celebrity version of Chop, are you all in?
Oh, 100%.
I had a feeling.
Absolutely. And I'm not even that worried that I would get chopped that early. Maybe along the way somewhere, but I think that I'd be able to hang for a little while.
I think you'd make it to the dessert round.
I think so. And now I've made, now I know how to make some killer desserts. So, what's funny is I make them, but I don't eat them. I have a figure to watch. My summer bod. But honestly, just more than anything, because I make this French bread, I make the honey buttermilk rolls and honey buttermilk bread, and with this apple bread and banana bread and all this stuff, and there's so much gluten, and once again, old fart. it just, I feel like crap afterwards. It all tastes so good that it's so hard to, my body's like, nope. Don't do it. And it's probably a good thing. It's like my body rejects tobacco, like cigarette smoke. My body's rejecting all of this stuff that would be making me fat. So it's actually just doing me a favor, really, hopefully.
But I will say, if you want a really good banana bread recipe, go follow London's Most Wanted on YouTube. That was his debut episode. And it was, you can tell.
That was the apple bread.
That was the apple bread.
The banana bread is a slightly proprietary at this point, so I probably won't be showing everybody how I do that one exactly. But the apple bread is essentially the same thing.
So yeah, basically.
Watch it and put bananas in.
There you go.
It's there, and a few other little things, but it's practically the same. But we got sort of sidetracked with all of the freezes that Mississippi was getting, and it almost killed our garden.
Ooh.
And that really put us back. And now we've been dealing with so much rainfall that's putting us back. And really the only thing that's really survived in our garden right now is like a couple of tomatoes, a lot of okra, and these peppers. We got a lot of peppers, which is great.
That last batch that we showed with the photo was like the last really big haul that you've had.
That'll be the last one that comes in for a while, probably. Yeah. I go out every morning and pick what okras I can, and I come in and I bake them, and that's usually my breakfast. So I've been eating a lot of salads. We try to grow a lot of lettuce and romaine and buttered lettuces and stuff like that. And this incredible kale that we found last year. And so once the weather cools down a little bit, we're going to start getting all that in the ground, hopefully within like the next week or so. But the weather's been so damn unpredictable here that we have no idea what's going to happen.
Now fingers crossed for you on that.
So now that I've put all of your listeners to sleep.
Will you stop? Please. Well, you mentioned Interfere. Christian, yeah. I'm just trying to figure where the photo is. That would probably be right there. Yeah, number 9. Yeah. And
yeah.
Now, interestingly, you're very involved in this film. You're doing the casting. You're doing basically everything behind the scenes. I mean, what's it like to kind of, in a sense, we could say this is your baby?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's my partner Tim Walls, really kind of his. He wants to use it. He's learning a lot from me. I'm able to teach him a lot about just the process and stuff like that. And so it is important to me that this be good because he truly wants to make really good movies.
Right.
And I also have an acting school called London Arts Acting School.
As a matter of fact, Christian, give me photo number 8. We'll put that up just so everybody gets a look. Yeah.
London Arts Acting Studio, London Arts Acting School. Either way, we have classes on Zoom and in person. Whenever COVID goes away, we'll get back to the in-person classes. But I travel all over and teach. And the beauty about being so involved on this end of the movie making is that I get to fulfill my promise to my students of not only teaching them how to be in movies, but but actually giving them real opportunities to actually be in the movies.
Which I think is fantastic, because that just because you go to an acting school does not guarantee you that you're going to be in the film.
It's quite the antithesis. You're usually unfortunately learning from people that really have no business teaching, and so they wind up teaching people a lot of bad habits anyway, and they really don't have a connection to the business that like I have, that I'm blessed to have, it is truly more rewarding for me to see one of my students in these movies at this point than it is to even see myself anymore. I've been doing this for 32 years. I'm used to seeing me in them, seeing them in them whenever it was their dream when they came to me to be in movies, and now they're in movies, right. And I couldn't imagine anything more rewarding, really,
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you were doing this before the pandemic. I mean, the school's been at about 5 years old at this point?
7.
Right? 7, okay. So you've been at this for 7 years, and you are somebody who's seen every possible end of a career. The highs, the lows, the good, the bad.
I've had every end of the career.
You have
ups and downs and all kinds of it, man. And now I'm sort of in that rebuilding phase, and it's actually been quite a wonderful journey for me. I have a lot of experience that I can relay to my students, real world stuff that will hopefully, keep them from making a lot of the same mistakes down the road, or making, big mistakes, and really thinking about their career and how to represent themselves, that kind of stuff.
I think it's good because in a sense, you're not just a teacher, you're really trying to be a mentor to these people.
Yes, right? Yes, absolutely. And I come from a place of like, look, man, I've been there. So, I'm not just telling you a bunch of random stuff to make you think that I know a bunch of random stuff.
Right.
I know where the bodies are buried. I've seen
intimately, I might add. Thank you.
Been there, done that, man. And it's like one of those things that whenever I hear people, often they say, "Oh, I can't wait to move out to LA." I'm like, no. First of all, the business isn't there anymore. Secondly, no, the place steals your soul, man.
You seem more comfortable now. I mean, not that I knew you back then, but again, being around Kevin Smith and some of the people of Kevin Smith's world, and knowing how most of them have kind of not gone Hollywood. Like somebody like Jeff Anderson lives in Bakersfield, Brian O'Halloran's in the Poconos, you're in Mississippi. It seems like everybody just seems to be very comfortable in their own skin being, I'll visit it, I'll do some work in it, but I don't have to be in it. Is that accurate?
If you think about the nature of Kevin's movies, and his ability to sort of find the person with the personality that matches up with the types that he's looking for.
Right.
None of us are really like bandwagon people. You know what I mean? We're all very individual, sort of self-thinking, not impressed with bullshit, limelight, garbage. And so none of us are really tainted like that. We're all slightly just kind of over it. I think just kind of enjoying being human and being treated like humans. I love being able to go into places and not be recognized. I really do. I never wanted fame. I never liked that part of it. I just love acting, and I love being an actor, and I love traveling, and I love connecting with people and all of that stuff. But the fame part, it's for the birds. I've never understood why people put actors on pedestals. I just don't. Some of the dumbest people I've ever met are actors. But, to put astronauts on pedestals, or doctors or nurses, and all these people on the front line that are putting their lives on the line now for everybody, put them on pedestals.
I agree with you.
I mean, I'm going to a convention tomorrow, Horror Hound in Ohio.
Is that the one in Cincinnati by any chance?
It is.
Okay, it is. Yeah. My boy Brian's going to be there, so is Jeff.
Brian's going to be there. Yes, I can't wait.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Did you ever see Monsters Anonymous?
As you're going to steal my thunder, but 11, please. As a matter of fact, put it up.
I was so lucky. So the first movie that I was able to make with my students was this little short film called Monsters Anonymous. Yeah. And we had a Mallrats event in Pensacola, and I was lucky enough to see Brian. And I asked Brian if he'd play Dracula for us, and man, he shocked all of us when he said yes, and we were so thrilled. He's pretty much the only actor in the movie that's not my student. And man, we won so many awards with this little movie. It's so fun. It's on Amazon, I believe.
Oh, very cool. I was about to ask you if it's anywhere, because I saw this at a short film festival here on the Jersey Shore when it came out. And then I find out, Jeremy directed it. I'm like, oh, wow. But the concept was so much fun. And that's the thing, you're constantly laughing, and I love it. Here we go. These Dracula and all these people are in therapy. I'm like, that alone going, you got me at that.
Yeah, they're in therapy because they're bummed out that they're not scary anymore.
Exactly.
Which is all sort of relevant. We get older, we tend to be forgotten. But, the truth is that the legends live forever, right?
Absolutely, they do. I mean, in a weird way, in a certain world, you are going to live forever as TS. You kind of know that.
Well, it's just weird that, I've got a pretty extensive body of work.
You do. I mean,
crazy, but that stuff is going to be around for forever. And when, getting heavy about it or whatever, it's a pretty cool thing, because my great grandkids will get to know who their great grandfather is on a level, Exactly. Who gets to do that? It's true. It's going to be a record of it,
Well, I think if we were to break down your career, look, Mallrats, there's a segment who's going to remember you for that. There's going to be a segment who's going to remember you for Party of Five.
Yep.
And then, and this is a touchy one that I'm going to go here only because of the fact that at one point, Seventh Heaven was on every damn
that's my grandmother's favorite thing. It wasn't necessarily my cup of tea, but it's a lot of people love that show.
Right. And I was about to say, because of what happened with the Stephen Collins thing, the show disappeared. And that's kind of unfortunate in a sense, but I understand why it did.
And to happen to the kindest hearted, sweetest human being on the face of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that man ever hurt anyone or would ever hurt anyone. And it happened over something that happened to him in like high school or college, or like in his youth. Who the hell is the same person in their 60s or 50s or whatever that they were when they're in their teens? Good God. You know, if he would have actually done something that harmed somebody, it would have been one thing, but he didn't. And I tend to think that his honesty, even about the situation in the moment, just shows that something even that sort of slightly insignificant weighed on his mind and his heart for a long time, and made him feel bad about himself. And at some point he felt like he needed to share that with the therapist. And then, you know,
it all comes out.
His ex-wife used it as fuel against him, you know, and that's just cruel. And I've been through that too. You know, I've had lies made up about me with both of my ex-wives, unfortunately, you know, because we have targets on our back.
Right.
And you know, we're always considered guilty before we can prove that we weren't.
Right. Before the whole story comes out.
I've never actually had a charge stick because I've never done anything like that. And they figure it out eventually. But the damage usually is done by then, because the TMZs and all of those jerks, they don't care about the truth. They want the juice. They say if it doesn't bleed, it doesn't lead. So if they have for a moment even the possibility that something could be real, they go with that before they even give us the chance to you know, take up for ourselves. And then, you know, it becomes a part of it, like a legal thing, like you're not allowed to talk about it until it's resolved. And so you can't even defend yourself. And so that looks like you're guilty.
Right.
You know, and so you know, it's just we have targets on our back, and that one particular with Stephen is so heartbreaking to me, because I know the man's heart. You know, he's truly one of the good ones.
And it's interesting because it truly, because I was going to ask, did that whole thing taint your? Obviously, it hasn't tainted the experience on 7 Heaven at all. You look back on it more fondly than anything else.
Yeah. I look on it as I was blessed to be a part of something that at the time I don't think I appreciated enough.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment. I like that.
Yeah.
Jeremy London is here on the A Game. He does have a movie that is coming out on October 15th. I do have the trailer for this, and we're going to play this in a second. Demigod is coming out. Gravitas is releasing it, so it's getting a national push.
Oh, I'm so glad that you have this.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm getting ready, and I'm going to be making another movie with these amazing filmmakers. That will be my third one, Miles Doliak and Lindsay Williams. And this movie is amazing because I spoke nothing but German.
I did not know this. Wow.
Yeah. I only speak German in this movie, and so I had to learn German.
How long did it take to at least get down the dialect for the film?
I'm a pretty quick study. Okay. You know, I've developed methodologies through the year that through the years that I actually teach. I teach in my classes, and it's because I apply them. It's what I teach, what I use, and so I've figured out ways of learning quickly.
Right,
but it's tricky. I mean, learning the words is one thing. Saying them the right way is complete. that's the trick, you know. Right. Sounding authentic, that's the trick.
But it sounds like it was a good adventure, because in a sense, like, oh well, this is a different kind of role for you.
It was absolutely unique for any of the experiences I've ever had. I've done so many movies, and I've never had to speak another language. So, you know, at this point in the game, to do something original and something that I haven't done, something that's challenging, felt really, it felt good to be challenged and to live up to it, because, you know, I think as artists, we sometimes tend to get complacent and comfortable with how everybody else sees us, that we've stopped reaching for new levels. And so, you know, I'll never be that. I'll always be trying to reach for new stuff. But at the same time, you know, I just feel grateful for every moment that comes my way now, as opposed to back in the day where I think I expected it. You know, you know what?
I know that from being a radio broadcaster, you do reach a point where all of a sudden you're having success. You do expect it. And then when it's taken away from you, you start to go, okay, let's level off. Now the reality is settled in. This is
Absolutely.
good. Yeah. And
yeah, and I lost most of my money in the 2008 stock market crash.
wow.
I lost two houses and 600 grand in one day.
Yeesh.
And so these things that would make, that were making people jump in front of buses. I stood back and I went, I grew up poor and broke. I can be broke again. That's not money's not going to break me.
Right.
I wasn't necessarily happy or whenever I had all that money, but for me, it's about just staying in the business and being able to keep doing what I love to do. And that is be on a movie set. And the fact that I'm still getting it to being able to do it shows me that I'm proud of being able to pick myself up by my bootstraps and move forward, learn from it, teach other people from it, but use it. My lady and I both are going back to school to get our psychology degrees. So,
oh, wow. That's saying, again, so you really do have this thought of like going, I love doing this, but I'm going to always look for, it may not always be here. So, yeah.
Right. I've always been I've been as into my side hustles I am my acting. I
like that. Yeah.
It's always been important to me. I'm an artist and teacher, and the gardening and the cooking and whatever I can do, conventions. It's all just a part of me feeling like being a rounded person and not defined just by one thing.
And I think we've proven that in just the first half hour alone, because we really didn't talk a lot about acting, but we talked about a lot of different stuff, which I think has been great. And it really shows the many levels of you, Jeremy, for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. All right. Demigod, we're going to roll this in a second. Rachel Nichols is a star. You may remember her from Continuum on CBS. She was in a movie that you remember one of her co-stars in Alex Cross, because you worked with Matthew Fox back in the day, was a movie that she was in. So... And she's carving out a nice niche right now, and she is the lead. Let's fire it up right now. This is Jeremy London's new movie that's coming out October 15th. This is the trailer for Demigod.
How long since you saw him last?
The day we left. I was 6, maybe 7.
Well, definitely doesn't skip on the ambiance.
Why did we even come here?
Because he left you everything such as it is. You have to mean something to him, right?
What are you doing here?
A visitor. We're visiting.
You don't know the tales.
What tales?
Just another one of Grandpa's scary stories told after too much whiskey.
The winter solstice comes, the great hunt has begun. With arrow, sword, and knives, the supreme hunter consumes his lives.
Okay, I don't believe it. Any of it.
The prey never believes until your skin hangs on his wall, until you witness his might.
That seems like it's going to be an intense ride. October 15th, video on demand and many other streaming outlets. That movie is coming out. Jeremy London, one of the stars of the movie. Thank you that we can get that out there.
Man, that was great. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you.
No problem. Like I said, I try to be thorough, as you can see.
I'm very impressed, brother. I'm very impressed. I'm really glad we were able to do this.
Yeah, I got one more segment we're going to do, and then I'll let you get going, because
I'm enjoying it. So don't feel like you got to rush off anywhere, man.
I got a segment I do with all my guests called Random Shots. I basically admit I have stalked your social media. I've come up with questions.
Oh, no.
Here we go.
Oh,
but it also reflects a little bit on your career. So I will start with this. More of a badass, former Mr. Olympia Franco Columbu or kickboxing legend Don the Dragon Wilson?
Don the Dragon Wilson.
That's saying something, because you did films with both of these guys too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did.
Yeah, and Don is one of those. He was a B movie guy, but he should have been bigger.
It was just fun. It was just fun. It was a trip. Yeah.
I mean, and the film that I'm talking about is Fury, the Fist, and the Golden Fleece, was a total spoof, which was just
so silly. You know who directed that and made that movie?
No, I don't.
Oliver Stone's son.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oliver Stone's. Yeah.
It also explains why he had such an interesting cast of characters that were going throughout the film.
what a weird movie, but it's so fun. But it is absolute spoof on those movies, which is just a blast. I mean, it's fun to just come in and just be a fool. And I got to do it with my twin brother.
You and Jason have not done a lot of things together.
No.
Yeah,
we've only done one real movie together that actually you can find on Amazon. I'm gonna space on it now. It's called Branded. Yeah, and it's the only real movie that we've really done together. We've done like an episode of Seventh Heaven and some smaller things, little appearances together as like the London twins that just show up kind of randomly for fun thing. But I did produce a movie called Mississippi River Sharks that I was able to. That was the first movie that I was able to put a bunch of my students in and get a bunch of my students in it. But my brother's one of the. He plays Jason London in it, the star of like a Sharknado type movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just that one was a sort of a spoof on those movies, those Sharknado movies, and that kind of stuff. And it was pretty fun. A lot of silliness there, but overall, we really haven't done a whole lot.
Yeah. But this segues into another question I was going to ask you. True or false, your first big break was because Jason wasn't available for a certain television series, and you kind of walked into the series. Is that true?
Well, I didn't walk into the series by any means. Jason had he was under contract with Fox for a pilot that he did, and they were considering him for a show called "I'll Fly Away."
Right, Sam Waterston
and Sam Waterston, and Josh Brandon, John Falsey, the guys that did St. Elsewhere and Northern Exposure, and so basically, I got the chance to then audition for the role that they wanted him for,
right,
and was. Immediately just plucked out of Texas and plopped down in Atlanta, Georgia. And all of a sudden I was on an Emmy award-winning television show for the next 2 years. But that is, it's relatively true. I mean, he would have probably been doing it had he been available.
Right. And I'm gonna apologize that I asked this question in random shots because I'm sure this has been asked a zillion times before, so that's why I apologize. Has there ever been a moment where you two guys just trade places and freaked everybody out and they didn't realize you were your brother and your brother was you?
Well, in The Man in the Moon, the very first movie that we ever did,
there you go.
Reese Witherspoon's movie when she's 13 years old. There are shots of it's my brother. I literally forced him to go on this audition. He wound up getting the role because he just didn't give a shit. And they were like, we like him. We like that attitude. Right. It was weird. But I have close-ups in the movie where you just don't even know you don't know it's me. You think it's my twin brother. So that's, I think, the only time I can say that show I'll Fly Away, the first television series I was on, the one that my brother was supposed to do. After the show wrapped, after we won the Emmy for Best Drama, and then it got canceled in the second season. Which
is unheard of.
It was too heavy of it. It was such a good show, but it was heavy, and people didn't want to deal with that much heaviness every week. And I kind of understand. I mean, it was a lot. It was super heavy. Whenever they wrapped the show, they made a 2-hour-long movie to wrap the whole thing up.
Right.
And I was on set. I don't know, in Canada or Australia or something, and I couldn't do it. And so my brother played like my character for the that last movie. Wow. And people did not like it. Oh, man. Yeah, that didn't go over too well. They did not like it.
Okay, that was one of those ones. It's like, okay, this backfired. We may not do that.
Yeah, they didn't. They were just like, oh, that probably was. We shouldn't have done that. That's not on my brother.
Right.
He just. We are very different, and it was just incredibly obvious that something is wrong with this character. He looks the same, but there's nothing the same about it. It was just completely different. I don't even know if Jason had ever even seen the show.
I think it's interesting too that I catch there's a slight differentiation just because a radio guy, I catch tones and voices. There's a different tone between yours and Jason's voice. You look the same, but the tone is a little.
We don't even look the same anymore, really. We really
Age is gonna do that, man. There's nothing we can do. We can't fight now. Random shots with Jeremy Leonard. Okay, we talked about earlier the pandemic, how you developed your garden, but what did you do more of during the pandemic? Was it cooking or playing your guitar?
Cooking for sure. Yeah. I unfortunately am dealing with some arthritis. Which does get in the way of my gardening too. But it's made it a little bit harder to play the guitar.
That's a shame because I saw some of your
unfortunately.
videos on Facebook and I was like, "Oh, dude, you got a good voice and you know what you're doing with the guitar." Yeah. If
Thank you.
anything, it's like you did a cover of the Avid Brothers, and I'm sitting there going, "Yeah, this is sort of his pocket, sort of like a little bit of a country tinged alternative." Is the best way.
Yeah, that's my favorite one that I do. I just love it. My brother cries every time I sing that song. He does. He's very emotional and proud. Yeah, the Avett Brothers. It's something that I love. I need to do more of it.
Yeah, I was about to say, why hasn't maybe because it's not been an opportunity, but it would seem to be an obvious thing where a music movie of some ilk with you in it.
I'm getting ready to do that with actually the same people you just saw in the movie.
Miles Doliak and them, yeah.
Miles Doliak and Lindsay. I just got a text from Lindsay a few minutes ago, actually, that they've got the first rough draft of the script, but they're writing a character just for me in the next one. And apparently we're singing and playing music and stuff. I have no idea what it's going to entail, but I can't wait.
I'm happy for you, man, because he just and again, if you follow him on Facebook, find these videos because he really does show off a great voice, and you can tell you're beaming while you're playing too. So you obviously have such great passion for it.
I do. I love it.
Which leads me to my next question: what's the better movie? And obviously, I picked two music-based movies: Tender Mercies or Crazy Heart.
Oh man,
tough one.
I gotta go with Crazy Heart. Yeah.
Tender
Mercy is such a good movie, though. They're such good movies.
They both are brilliant. And
the lady that cast us in The Man in the Moon actually cast Tender Mercies. That's how Tender Mercies is actually why I'm in this business, oddly enough.
Okay, explain that one.
Sherry Rhodes was the casting director of Tender Mercies.
Okay.
My very first sort of manager and acting teacher out of Dallas was an extra in Tender Mercies and helped her, was an assistant with her on casting. So whenever she came through Dallas casting The Man in the Moon, we had a direct connection to be able to get our foot in the door and get into that audition because David Payne, who was an extra in Tender Mercies, was our manager now and got us actually in to see Sherry Rhodes, who fell in love with my brother and I. And she actually even helped me with my audition for I'll Fly Away. And put me on tape for I'll Fly Away and coached me through that. And so Sherry Rhodes, rest her soul, she is the reason my brother and I are in this business, and she was the casting director for Tender Mercies. So
that's a great story. Never knew that. Never knew that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. I love stumbling on stuff like that.
Yeah, I probably should have just said Tender Mercies right off the box, but Crazy Heart's such a good movie. They're all good movies.
Yeah, but I loved your reaction, sort of like going, "You bastard, give me those two and pick one." Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's like apples to apples,
Pretty much. More of a fan of, and you'll understand when I list these two: wrestling or shooting 8-ball.
8-ball. The wrestling is.
Christian, give me photo 6. I found this. You were nice enough to actually do just a local spot by you. They caught you on camera and you're just shooting pool. I mean,
I can't believe that you have that. It's so bizarre because this was literally that's the guy, my partner there with the blue shirt. That's Tim, and Demorian Lozana is the African American gentleman who's an actor. And we had literally just finished shooting Demorian's scenes for Interfere, and we had to stop in the middle of our day to run over so Tim could shoot a local commercial for Marsh Landing and then get back to our other set and keep shooting on the movie. And so I was there with him anyway. So I was like, let's just do this right. Let's get some shots of, let's play some pool and get some shots, get some cool shots and let's do it. And so I wound up in just randomly, because I love Tim and I want to support Tim in any way that I can and make anything that he does as good as possible, and so it's funny because the people that own Marsh Landing have no idea that they have Jeremy London in their commercial.
Oh, really?
They have no idea who I am, probably, unless they've figured it out by now.
Well, maybe they did
at the time,
right?
No clue.
Well, maybe you and your lady are going to get dinner there at some point.
I just enjoy that kind of stuff. I love it because I just imagine them, looking at me going, God, why does this dude in our commercial look familiar? Like what? Wow. can't figure it out. Maybe I went to school. I get that crap all the time. They're like, did you go to school over in Jackson?
You know what? It goes back to something you were saying earlier, though. There's no ego. I mean, some people would maybe look down upon this. You're just more like, I'm helping out a friend. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't have an ego. God, who would I be to have any kind of ego about anything after all the garbage I've been through in my life? God,
man,
I'm so blessed to even still be around on any level, and so grateful just to be able to keep doing what I do and have a woman that I love and that loves me and family that I love. I mean, cat's out of the box. I haven't mentioned this yet, but I'm about to be a grandfather.
Oh my God. Congratulations. Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's for real. Oh my God.
On the Rob and Campora show.
Yeah, there you go.
I haven't told anybody else that yet. Yeah,
it's exclusive right here. Damn it.
Yeah, exclusive. I'm gonna be a damn grandfather. It's amazing. My lady's oldest son, Noah, who's basically my stepson. He and his lady are having a baby, and so yeah.
Is that sinking in, or is it still that?
No,
no. I had a feeling you were going to say no.
No, yeah. It's kind of, I think, just one of those things. Like also, like when you're a new dad, like when my first son was born, it just didn't register until he was there. You know, and then all of a sudden my life made sense.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I noticed that just in your social media when you talk about your son, you do all the beaming comes out.
My children, my boys. How's this working? It's the opposite. Well, anyway, lyric and it's on my arms. Anyway, lyric and Wyatt.
Give a full shot of Jeremy so we can get a look at that.
There we go. Yeah, my boys. I got I wear them on my arms. It's Lyric and Wyatt, and they are my lives. But I've got the step boys, Ethan and Noah, and we have just a bunch of boys, which is great. Thank God.
Okay, I got one more random shot for you because last year there was a reboot of The Party of Five that came out on Freeform. Did you actually check out any of the episodes? No,
that pissed me off.
Now that's interesting because I was looking at the concept and I thought the concept had a chance, but it's interesting you're saying you're pissed off by it.
You can't call it the same thing.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
When it's completely different. And the thing is that it's the same people that were making it that were calling it the same thing.
Yeah, I noticed.
And I think that was just so lazy and such a trying to glom onto something that was that had worked for them in the past. Chris and Amy, the creators of the show, they're so talented and good. They didn't need to do that. I think it turned a lot of people off. Immediately, the loyal fan base of the original Party of Five said, I'm not even going to give this a chance. And so they shot themselves in the foot right off the bat. So even if it was good, nobody cared.
Right. Unfortunately, they were hoping for trying to get like 1 million, 1.5 million. They didn't even get 500,000 in viewership, which on Freeform, that's kind of the kiss of death. You have to get to that 1 million viewer platform to kind of try to continue.
Yeah. I just think that too many people try to glom onto something that worked at one time. Instead Jeremy, of having the faith in themselves that they can create something new.
You're seeing the trend of this. I mean, I'll give an example like the reboot. I'll say reboot, although it was different, but it wasn't different one day at a time, which was, I watched a couple episodes. It wasn't bad, but you can't compare that.
We grew up with that show. Though.
Exactly.
And so immediately you're going to lose me, and I'm not interested in watching it because that show had meaning to me. It was part of my life growing up. It'd be like saying, let's do Different Strokes or Silver Spoons again, and put all these, let's do it in Mumbai. It just does the whole thing. It's a different show. Call it something different and ride on your own ability to be a creative and productive filmmaker, and don't rely on your past successes in the sense that, we all rely on our past successes.
Absolutely.
Don't believe that that's your only formula for success. I think that they didn't give themselves enough credit in the moment to believe that a new approach to a formula that worked once would work again. I think they felt like they attached the moniker of Party of Five to it to give it that extra push over the edge, and I think that it backfired.
Interesting stuff. Dude, you have a very interesting insight into stuff, and I really appreciate that. It's very cool to have it. I mean, at some point, I hope you come to Jersey, as I can just sit down over a meal and be like, we got a lot to talk about, bro.
Anytime, man. Anytime. And I'll do this anytime you want, bro.
We'll definitely hang and we'll do this again. Before I let you go, let me mention GalaxyCon, because you have that October 9th. It is going to be a Q&A with some of the cast of Mallrats. Matter of fact, photo number 10, Christian, if I can put that up here. You're going to get a chance to get some photos with some of the cast, including Brian O'Halloran, my boy.
Renee looks great. I haven't seen Renee in years. She looks fantastic.
She's cool. Renee Humphrey's looking really Sven, I'll tell you, he's aging well.
He was always going to age well. He's a Viking.
Yes, it's true. And then Rooker, I think what I'm impressed about is Rooker really doesn't have to do this stuff. He just looks like he's having way too much fun.
Michael Rooker is the most fun human being on the face of the planet. That dude, he does not need to do any of it. Well, but what he figured out, is what I figured out. Is once, I guarantee you that the first convention he ever went to, he was miserable. He had no interest in actually being there. He thought it was beneath him. He thought it was stupid. And he felt like a fish in a fishbowl. And that's how I felt whenever I first started those things. But then one day I just decided, maybe I'll try to have fun with this. Let's just have fun with this. And man, ever since then, I love going to conventions, and it's not about money or anything. It's literally getting to connect with fans. And I think that's what Michael loves, is he truly loves getting a rise out of people and seeing people get a rise, enjoy that he's accessible.
I found a photo that kind of sums that up. Christian, give me photo number 7. This is at a convention. And when you see something like this and you just go,
that was to me.
Yeah.
That was to me.
That was to you. I know. I had to pull that up because it really does defend your point. He goes from one extreme. Now he's like,
he's like, London, you suck. It was so awesome. But I'll tell you, one of the things about Rooker is like, I had an audition for The Walking Dead, and I was at a convention, and he called up the casting directors right there while we were doing the convention, and he was like, give London the role. And he doesn't have that kind of sway. They didn't cast me, but it was fun that he did it.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. I mean, I think he hated me when we did Mallrats because he was supposed to, he was supposed to not like my character. And so I think he allowed himself to do it. And so we didn't even get close until we started doing conventions together. And he started getting accolades for this movie that he thought was probably just a piece of shit because it took 10 years for anybody to really even acknowledge that movie. And so I think that he just viewed it as an abject failure, because I know I did. Right. And then when he actually started realizing that a huge portion of his fan base all love that movie. Mm-hmm. And that's the movie he kept getting, requests to do autograph, like Mallrats poster. He started opening up going, maybe I got to give this another look.
I think you show what the true definition of a cult classic movie is. It was, maybe you thought it was an object failure, and then you realize there's a bigger fan base than we ever really imagined.
It's taken on a life of its own. It's far more popular now than it was when we made it. And, even, like I said, even 10 years afterwards, my dad and I went to the premiere from Mallrats, and it was an incredibly huge event. And I was convinced it was going to be a blockbuster. And then I took my dad to see it in a theater that same week, and there were like 6 people in the movie theater. And I think less than halfway through it, like 3 or 4 of them walked out. Oh. And so, and then it just sort of just disappeared. Yeah. And then all of a sudden people, got it at home on their, DVDs or streaming or whatever. And they're able to be at home with their beers and bongs and watch it over and over and actually start spending the time that it takes to get some of Kevin's very sort of sometimes obscure, very quick, witty humor. Right. They started going, wait a minute, this is actually genius. There's a lot of real funny stuff here. And so I think all of the bad sort of, I think Kevin even apologized for Mallrats at one point. I think all of that just started going away when we realized that oh, it really doesn't matter whether we like it or not or whatever. It's whether you guys all like it and what it means to you. And then, and what I've found out is that it means a lot to a lot of people. It really became a part of their lives,
And I can tell you it's running on Showtime this month. So if you have not seen it, go watch it. You'll find it somewhere this month. Watch it.
Good.
Jeremy, as I wrap up, let me run it all down real quick. London's Most Wanted Home Goods can be found at sc.com. Get the pepper jelly, by the way. It is delicious. I'm glad I waited to try this while I was on with you.
Me too. That was great, dude. I'm glad you tried it. That's fantastic. And
remember, when you do get it, Jeremy will sign it for you. So there's another reason to get it. The London Arts Acting Studio website, real quick, if they want to find out more about the acting studio.
I don't even, that's how sort of laid back I am about.
Okay, no problem. But there is a Facebook page for it, is there not?
Yeah, there's a Facebook page, London Arts Acting School. Yes.
Okay, London Arts Acting School. You can find the Facebook page to find out more about that. Demigod will come out on October 15th. Enter Fear, The Next Wave is the project he is working on. Maybe when that's ready to come out, that's when I'll have you come back on and we'll talk more about that.
I would love to. That'd be great.
I would love to do that as well. Thank you, my friend. I'm glad we finally
appreciate you. Thank you, man.
No problem.
Thank you for having me on.
You got it. That's a wrap for this week. We'll be back again Wednesday night, 7 o'clock next week. Until then, have a great week ahead. Jeremy, once again, thanks, brother.
Snoogans.